What is good, guys? It's Rey-Jay back with another video, and in this one I'm going to be breaking down what's going on with the market right now and some very important levels to be watching for. And also I'm going to talk about SPY, Tesla, the QQQ, and many tickers out there. I'm going to talk about what's going on right now and what you should be watching for as we approach the power hour. But before I break anything down about all this information, let me just mention a couple of things. I'm firstly not a financial planner, so take none of this as financial advice. And don't forget about the Moomoo link. The offer ends very soon. Put in $100 and you're guaranteed 5 free stocks with a $100 cash reward. Offer ends in just a couple of weeks. Check it out before they run out. With that out of the way, let's get on with the video. All right, so as for SPY, this thing started pushing up in the morning. We got a very, very bullish looking candle for the first hour. And after that, we had the resistance at this 440 area. I warned you guys about this in my second video of the day. But in the morning, it wasn't really looking this way. Things flipped very, very quickly, and that's why I had to make these adjustments. And after we broke 440, the next important level on SPY would be 442. Now we have major resistance at 442. As you can see, we're so far trying to fight it, and it is pretty tough, this 442 area. And if we somehow manage to break it, the next important level is going to be 443.5, but it's not as significant. Not as significant resistance in this 443.5 area. And we could make our way up to 445 if that ends up breaking. But for now, we have this very tight resistance at 442. Let's watch this very carefully. Now, if we end up coming down, support's currently at 440 flat. It was trying very hard to hold it. Look at the 1 hour time frame. You can see we have these wicks right here. Touched it, came right back up. Touched it, came right back up. It's trying to hold 440, and so far it's looking quite strong. However, if 440 breaks, that's going to be your signal to be watching this thing in this 439 support. 439.5 is going to be some support. And then after that comes 438. So we're going to watch all of these levels very carefully. For now, the market's holding up, so we're just going to see how it performs here, but it has very tight resistance at 442. So watch that very carefully on SPY. Tesla is showing some signs of, it was a little strong in the morning, but now it's kind of slowing down. It's a little bit red still. And Tesla failed to get all the way up to 260 for the time being. However, looking at Tesla, we got a very, very nice looking candle near the open, and there's no, point in saying that Tesla's done just yet. So if Tesla tries to get one more push to the upside, it's trying to hold support right now around this 255 zone. If it breaks above that, we're going to be watching this chop area between this 257.65 area and then 255. So far, it's going back and forth and back and forth. It's been doing this for the past 3 hours. It made one attempt to break above 258, but it failed to do so. And after that, it just has been shopping since. The next major resistance on Tesla is going to be 260. So watch 260 carefully if it does manage to break above 258. If it breaks that, there's going to be more potential for Tesla to start breaking out even more. But for now, it hasn't been able to hold above 260. So we're going to watch that carefully. If Tesla comes down, we have quite a bit of support holding this thing up, right? First off, we have this 254 level. We have 253.5 as well, which is where the 50 happens to be. And the major support is going to be at about 250. So if it does break down, you're going to be watching that. But for now, it's very, very sideways, going back and forth with lots of sideways price action. And we'll see which direction it breaks in. Now, one thing I want to note about SPY, which I forgot to mention, is on the 1 hour time frame, there's one thing that's a red flag to me, and that is there's a quadruple bearish divergence right here. So we have this first one on the RSI, second, third, and then fourth, while the price was going higher and higher. And there's a double bearish divergence on the MACD. So if we get a big rejection right in this area, this could signal, some downside, but there's no guarantee because there's no sign of downside just yet. The market continues to hold up. So I want to make that clear. There's no confirmation of downside yet, which is why I wouldn't recommend like straight up turning into a mega bear or anything like that. Not financial advice, but we have to wait for confirmation. There is a bearish signal developing, but there's no signal of it playing out just yet. Just wanted to call that out. As for Tesla, something similar is developing. We do technically, or at least we had a bearish divergence, which has started to play out. So there's some confirmation of it. It is, there is technically a lower high, but there's no confirmation of it breaking down just yet from this lower high. There's still a possibility it could try to flag and like keep going, for example. So because there's no confirmation, there's no point in really turning into like a mega bear on Tesla or even a mega bull. It's just kind of stuck right now. It's kind of flagging, getting very tight. So just be patient on Tesla and see how this goes going forward. Watch the 50 EMA as support nonetheless. NEO is up pretty big since I called it out. It's almost at $10 now. It's up another 8%. This thing has been up almost 50% since I called it out. So NEO is continuing to pump, continuing to look very, very strong. There is a small bearish divergence developing, but no confirmation of it breaking down. The QQQ broke the resistance I was talking about. So I told you guys, if it broke above the 366 resistance, you're going to be watching 368. And if that breaks, the next major resistance is going to be around 370, right? 370 is going to be very important. That is where the QQQ is starting to fight. After that comes this 372.5 area, and then we have 375 coming right after that. So QQQ is looking quite nice, still very strong, no major sign of weakness. But like I said about many tickers out there before, we have to be very cautious looking at this because of the potential bearish divergence that still isn't existent right now. This, in essence, is still developing. So there's no sign of this playing out for the bears. There's no signal in favor of the bears yet. This is just developing and it's not playing out just yet. The MACD also hasn't, so I'd be careful with this, at least to some degree. But for now, let's just follow the chart. The chart is still looking more bullish. It's still holding up, but we're going to be fighting this with resistance at 370. So watch that carefully. Break 370, we're going to be watching 372.5, then potentially 375. And if it comes down, supports at 368, that's the major support. And below that, there's 366, followed by 365.69. So very interesting levels on the QQQ. So far, the market's holding up. Nasdaq is still strong, still looking quite nice. Not a whole lot else is going on. There is a bearish divergence developing, but no sign of it playing out yet. If it does get a big rejection, then that would be my signal to be very careful. But for now, not seeing it yet, and I have to wait for confirmation. Be careful. The VIX, despite the market pumping, the VIX is starting to turn kind of green. But the trend is still in favor of the bears. It's still like downtrending right here. I'm sorry, in favor of the bulls. Technically, it's still downtrending. So we haven't seen this fully play out just yet. If it is going to base and get a nice bounce, then that could change everything. But for now, we're not seeing that on the VIX. And the VIX is not really impacting the market, or it's not being impacted by the market like it normally is. What else is good is, at least for the bulls, is Aapl is still strong. Aapl is still holding up nicely. You could see it's fighting. It managed to fight 185, broke above it. The next level is 186. I called this level out earlier. If that breaks, it could get closer to the 187s, right? Especially 187.5 has major resistance. We're going to be watching if it can break 186. It's very close. It's fighting, looking strong, and this is helping the market pump even more. On top of that, a lot of hedge funds are just FOMOing into the rally, buying in like crazy, and they're using a lot of excessive funds, which they were granted, of course, to continue to buy into the market. Now, there's no guarantee that this is all that their intentions are pointing towards. There's also a possibility of them repositioning and getting ready to short at these high levels. That's also a possibility, but there's no confirmation of it causing the market to reject just yet. SPY is still fighting for 442. At the time of recording, it's still fighting. It's getting very close to testing it again. If it manages to break this, this is very heavy resistance. 443.5 could come if it manages to get a clean break. For now, it's still fighting. So we'll see how it goes. But overall, guys, the bottom line is the market still has strength. It's not really weakening yet. And it could happen later looking at the bearish divergences developing, but we need confirmation, and there's no confirmation yet. Market is still holding up, so we'll watch this, especially as we approach the power hour. And until then, thank you all so much for listening. Market to the moon, as the long term is very bright, and peace out.